All right, well, this continues to escalate with this whole Assassin's Creed Yasuke catastrophe that Ubisoft has on their hands. And I'll be honest, I know a lot of people have said, the problem isn't the fact that he is a black man, it's the fact that they chose to use this particular character to promote a narrative about Japanese history and his importance to their culture, essentially. And I think that that's a fair point. But to be honest, it goes much deeper than that. This is kind of a revisionist history that's being done right before our very eyes, and it has a very far-reaching implication for everybody who actually cares about their own country's history and legacy when it comes to how we are represented on the world stage. And for Japan, that's something that they are very proud of, especially given the fact that they have been such an ethnocentric nation for such a long time, such a homogenous society of people. And then, of course, we had the games journalist reaction to Ubisoft's apology over this entire portrayal of Yasuke in the Assassin's Creed Shadows game. And, of course, we had the gamer come out and say Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed statement fails to say the only thing it needed to, basically wanting to tell supposed racists to get bent. You had Ash Parrish from The Verge going out there saying that we just need to dispense with the pretense that Japanese society isn't itself violently racist with its own form of ultra-conservative right-wing a-holes that are more than happy to carry water for this cause. And that was after saying that basically he was there, everything else should be allowed to be artistic license, none of this is about historical accuracy, you just hate black people and use Japanese folks as a convenient shield. And again, this is just Ash Parrish showing her own racism and projecting it onto other people. I'm going to go so far as to say, look, you can honestly not want to play a black samurai and still not be racist. It is possible. No different than you could say not want to play a Mexican samurai, or not want to play a Hungarian samurai, or not want to play a Russian samurai. It doesn't make you racist to want to play a ethnically centered and rooted character from a very strong period of time where there weren't many outsiders, if any at all, that would have been considered a samurai. I think it's a very no-brain issue when it comes down to it. It does not make you a racist. It makes you want to be fully immersed in the cultural time period that you're playing. I think that's a very rational way to look at it. But again, if you have anything different to say about that, you are just the worst person on the planet, according to Ash Parrish. And of course, some of these places, like Inverse, have actually edited their articles since originally putting them out. The original little excerpt here said, Assassin's Creed didn't need to explain Assassin's Creed to idiots. Idiots. So again, Ubisoft comes out and apologizes, and their first reaction is, oh, well, they're just apologizing to a bunch of racists and morons, basically. And of course, we talked about Kotaku. We've talked about Alyssa Mercante to death. She, of course, went after gamers, went after anybody who had a problem with it, went after Japan itself, saying maybe just say your racist response to a video game is indicative of moral decay, get bent instead of this, which she got called out by Eric Kane and then went after him for his general appearance. Just completely schoolyard behavior, absolutely pathetic. All this to say, this has not slowed down this change.org petition. It is now up to 97,738 signatures, still going strong, absolutely mind-blowing the amount of numbers of people from Japan who have come out to sign this thing. And that is what I think these journalists have missed, is the extent to which they have angered Japan. And of course, you'll see in this That Park Place article that says Japanese players excoriate Ubisoft after they apologize for creating concern within the Japanese community with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now look, we've talked about how this is supposedly being brought before the Japanese Diete, where they're going to actually, bring this before legislature. Then there are conflicting reports saying, you know what, historical fiction's not really our issue, not our deal. And again, I'm not sure where this is going to end up, but what it is doing is it's bringing to awareness the issue of cultural revisionism and revisionist history that's being pushed by a certain agenda all around the world before the very eyes of Japanese politicians, citizens, gamers, you name it. So the article here says Japanese gamers are not happy with Ubisoft and its recent statement apologizing for creating concern within the Japanese community with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Ubisoft, through the official Assassin's Creed account on X, stated, to our esteemed Japanese community, a message from Assassin's Creed Shadows development team, and then they go on the long-winded 4-part response that basically doesn't say anything with a lot of words. It says, yes, we were inspired by Yasuke. No, he's not historical. But we like to think that he might have been, but we understand that if you don't like it, that's fair, but we're just going to do it anyways. So hopefully don't be mad at us because we're still going to do this and nothing's going to change. It was the most half-assed, half-hearted, meaningless apology, non-apology I've ever read. It was corporate speak, through and through. Nothing more than that. The funniest part, though, is that the Japanese player reactions to this have been absolutely fantastic. So you have this one here that says, I think the story about Yasuke should just be considered fiction based on Yasuke. The issue of historical retelling is no longer a Ubi issue, but a Lockley issue, talking about Thomas Lockley, the author who wrote African Samurai, who so much of this misinformation and lack of historical data is, responsible for. He added, however, Yasuke is no longer the problem. The plagiarism of materials from manga organizations and cultural heritage sites, the misinterpretation of Japanese history, and the misinterpretation of Japanese as Chinese, among other things, show disregard for Japan. The problem is these. Showing the cheap-ass katana that they stole from One Piece with the cheap Amazon stand for it that they had at the Paris Expo that nobody even showed up for. The AI art created, pieces of tapestry around the game, using the wrong symbols from Chinese instead of Japanese language. It's just absolutely insane. Another user posted, thanks to your company, I was able to become aware of the historical changes being made by the forces of globalization against Japan. Thank you very much. And again, this is what I'm talking about, this awareness that's waking people up. It's so roundabout that I don't know what you're trying to say, wrote another, talking about this nonsense, corporate garbage that they put out there, trying to make this, again, non-concessionary, half-hearted apology. Still another user wrote, I've played almost all the previous games, but I especially love Assassin's Creed Origins. Origins was a story about Bayek, an Egyptian whose culture and religion are completely different from ours. To be honest, in the beginning of the game, the character's views on life and death, customs, and religious terminology were all foreign to me, and I found many parts difficult to get into. However, as I played the game, these skills naturally came to me, and I felt like I was able to identify with Bayek, who has a completely different cultural background to us. It was a wonderful game. I also believe that there is no other work that excels in constructing the world of Egypt at that time. And again, this is one of those important pieces that Assassin's Creed, despite being science fiction, historical fiction, whatever you want to call it, fantasy, they've always rooted it around historical characters and time periods where you can interact with the history of the world that existed at that time with the elements of fantasy or science fiction in them. He added, so in the original Famitsu interview, it was written that in order to depict medieval Japan, we were looking for a samurai who could represent us, even though we are not Japanese. I'm very disappointed with this statement. There may be a difference in the nuance of the translation, but I couldn't believe that it was coming from the company that made Origins. No, this person is dead on, and this is why I say it's okay if you didn't want to play a black samurai. And I'm not saying that to be mean towards black people or anybody else who want to see themselves play a samurai. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't make you racist to say, I want to be immersed in a game about Japan through the eyes of a Japanese person. That's just a very non-crazy, non-psychotic viewpoint to have. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think what's most worrying about this current uproar is whether or not this game is contributing to historical revisionism, he declared. To be honest, the issues involved are beyond my ability to handle, so I will leave that to the experts, but the thing that worries me the most is the fundamental philosophy behind how the world is depicted in this game. Rather than a depiction that pursues detailed realism like Origins, which recreates the world of that time in a game, I strongly hope for an experience that allows you to become one with that world. As a fan of the series, I hope that Shadows doesn't end up just being a work set in Japan during the Sengoku period, and that's honestly, I think what's going to happen. Hanamo wrote, I would like to add that the third image, an example of creative expression, be clearly written as an example of fiction. Japanese people are tolerant of fiction that deals with historical figures, but are intolerant of anything that is not described as fiction. Please do not underestimate the Japanese people. Well, another person wrote, he seems to be apologizing, but he doesn't say anything. This is so sloppy. It's been a long time since I've been so disappointed with something. It's so disrespectful and unpleasant. Let me see here. Another person says, as a game, there are a lot of problems with it, such as plagiarism, but can they be fixed? Thank you for just letting me know about the Yasuke problem. I will raise more issues. And this just goes on and on and on, guys. There are so many people who are unhappy with this. Even their apology on Ubisoft Japan got community noted. And one of the community notes says, although it states that the games in the Assassin's Creed series are not made with the purpose of recreating historical facts or historical figures, in an interview with the development staff stated, historical accuracy has been confirmed. It has all the information we need to reconstruct what Japan was like in the 16th century. It's well described. Conduct thorough research and compare the results with experts. Historical games, historical fidelity maintained. It faithfully depicts real historical figures and events of the time. Therefore, this message contradicts previous statements made by the development staff. And I think that that's the perfect place to end this video, because that's kind of like the chef's kiss of this entire pushback from the Japanese people coming out saying, no, you are advertising this as historical. You're advertising this person as a legendary samurai who existed, who was significant to Japan's history, who had a lasting impact, and who is one of the most mysterious legendary samurai of Japanese lore, when his very existence and its significance is even contested to this day. So let me know what you think about all this, guys. Let me know if you're enjoying this content. If you are, hit like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys all being here. And again, if you want to support the channel, there are many ways to do it. You can become a channel member for as little as $3 a month. We have got subscriptions through Locals, through Subscribestar, all that good stuff. But I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to leave it right here. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.